held aside, that they both are satisfied. Illuminate the nose on the vacancy sides. If there's no one beside you when your soul embarks, then I'll follow you into the dark.
Hey guys, my name's Dave and welcome to another Guitar Zero to Hero song tutorial. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to play I Will Follow You Into the Dark by Death Cab for Cutie. This is an update to an old lesson that I taught for this song. In that older lesson, I just taught a simple strummed version, but in this tutorial, I'm going to teach you how it's actually played in the studio recording with an intricate slap flick fingerpicking technique. For the beginners out there, I will also teach a simplified version in this video as well. For the basics of this song, you'll need your guitar in standard tuning and a capo on the 5th fret of your guitar. If you want to master your chords back to front, then be sure to head over to guitarzerotohero.com to pick up my free guitar ebook. Or if you're fairly new to guitar and you're looking to build a strong, solid foundation but you don't know where to start, then check out the Guitar Zero to Hero Premium membership and course, which gives you all the guidance to play with confidence. I'll leave a link to it in the description. Let's jump into the lesson. First off, I'll teach you how this is actually played in the studio recording, which requires a specific fingerpicking technique. This may challenge some beginners though, so if you're new to guitar and you just want a simple way of playing this, then skip to the second half of this video where I'll teach you a simple way of just strumming the chords. But diving into the studio version, there's not a whole lot we need to learn in terms of chords and chord progressions. The trickiest part really is in the right hand, the picking hand. Let's start with the intro / chorus chord progression. There's 4 lines of tab here, or 4 lines of chords. We're going to start with an A minor chord. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to start by plucking the open 5th string. Then we're going to do a percussive slap flick. Now, this is the tricky technique here that you really kind of need to develop and master in order to play this song fluently. It's quite simple, but it does take a lot of practice to master. So what you'll do is you'll drop your hand or the side of the thumb onto the strings, but at the same time, you'll have your index finger curled and you'll flick your index finger across these strings. Now I'll be focusing on the 4th and 3rd strings here, but if you happen to hit some of the higher strings, it doesn't matter. Just as long as you get that percussive mute whilst you flick your index finger. So just take a moment to just practice that. Dropping the side of your hand and at the same time flicking your index finger. Now this technique is going to occur basically for every 2 and 4 beat throughout the entire song. So that's on the 2 beat. And then on the end beat after the 2, with our index finger kind of extended, we're now going to pluck up on the 2nd string. So that's the first half. Thumb, flick, and pluck up. 1 and 2 and... Now for the second half, we'll go thumb, pluck up with the index finger on the 3rd string, slap flick, and then you can start moving to a C shape, but we'll pluck the open 3rd string here. So after the slap flick, pluck the 3rd string, but I'll be sort of lifting my ring finger here, so that's why you'll see it as an open note. In the second half, 3 and 4 and... Notice how the thumb and the index finger are doing basically all of the work here. You don't need any of your other fingers, it's just the thumb and the index finger. And the bar in total, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... And one more time. Then we go to a C chord shape, so C chord now, and we're going to play the exact same picking pattern. So for the first half, root note, slap flick on the 2 beat, and then pluck up on the 2nd string. And for the second half, root note, 3rd string, slap flick, and 3rd string. And the bar in total. Now I want you to know that you don't have to be ultra precise with the strings that you actually pluck. As long as your movement is in the correct direction, then over time you will be better at targeting those specific notes. You just want to focus on the motion first, and then later on you can target specific notes. So I could play it a little more loosely like this, if I wanted to, where I'm hitting more strings than I need to. The motion is correct. So thumb, flick, up, flick, up. Obviously that doesn't sound as refined as what we're playing in the tab though. So just keep that in mind. Next we go to an F bar chord like this. Now our root note's going to be a 6th string, and then for our slap flick, we'll focus on the 5th and 4th strings. And then an upstroke on the 3rd string. 1 and 2 and then the second half is root note, 4th string, slap flick, and then we can kind of get into our next chord shape, and that's why on the final stroke I'm hitting the open 3rd string. But again, motion is more important than targeting the specific notes. So thumb, up, flick, up with your index. And that's the 3rd bar. For the 4th bar, we're going to mix things up a tiny bit. We go to a C chord. We're going to be playing on every 8th note here. So thumb, upstroke on the 4th string, slap flick, and upstroke on the 2nd string. So thumb, up, flick, up with your index finger. And then we change to a C/B. So from the C, just lift your ring and middle finger, put your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 5th string, play the exact same picking pattern. So root, up on the 4th string, flick, and then up on the 2nd string. Thumb, up, flick, up. And the bar in total. That's it for the first line tab, which sounds like this. For the second line tab, the first 2 bars are identical to the first line tab. For the 3rd and the 4th bar, we just go to a G chord. I'm going to play my G chord like this with my ring and pinky fingers on the 3rd frets of the 6th and 2nd string. Now we're going to hit the root note, which is the 6th string, slap, flick, and focus on the 4th and 3rd strings, upstroke on the 2nd string, and then root note, 3rd string, slap flick, and 2nd string. So now remember, the rhythmic motion is more important than targeting specific strings when you're starting out on this. So thumb, flick, up, thumb, up, flick, up. And we do that twice for the G chord. In the second line of tab, for the 3rd line of tab, we start off with the same A minor to C. Then we go to an E major chord, and we're going to play one picking pattern here. So root note, slap flick, and then upstroke, targeting roughly the 3rd string. Then root, 4th string, slap flick, and then up on the 3rd string again. So the E major. Then for the final bar, we go back to an A minor, and we're going to go thumb, up, flick, up on the notes that I've shown below on the tab. So 5th, 4th, slap flick, 2nd. Then we go to an A minor over G. So you just take your pinky finger, now put that on the 3rd fret of the 6th string, and that is the new root note. Now, if that is too tricky, then you can just lift your ring finger and put that on the 3rd fret of the 6th string instead. Completely up to you. So the final bar. And the 3rd line of tab in total. Then for the 4th line of tab, we go to an F major again. Now this F bar is the same as what we had in the first line of tab. But then we're going to go to an F minor. So lift your middle finger, and what you can do is just strum that and then continue on with the same picking pattern on the 2 beats. So strum, flick, up, then thumb, up, flick, up. And for the first 2 chords. And then we get back into our C position, so just pivot around that ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 5th string, and we're going to hit the root note, slap flick, and then up on the 2nd string. Then change to a C over G, so just move your ring finger up to the 3rd fret of the 6th string, and this is our new root note. And play the exact same picking pattern. So C, C/G. and we play that twice. That's it for the intro and chorus chord progression, which sounds like this in total. Now remember, rhythmic motion is more important. Just take it slow, and then over time you can be more selective with the actual notes you're hitting. Okay, next is the verse, which is just 2 lines of tab. We're going to continue on with that C to C/G that we had at the end of the intro and chorus. So that will just sound like this. And then we're going to go to an A minor chord, and we're going to alternate between the open 5th string and open 6th string being the root notes. That's pretty simple. Now remember, it's thumb, flick, up with the index finger. Thumb, flick, up, thumb, flick, up. And that's played through 2 bars as well. For the second line tab, we played the F chord, which is the same as the F chords in the verse for 2 bars. Then we go to a C chord for 1 picking pattern. And then a G chord for 1 picking pattern. And that is it for the verse, which sounds like this. And that's just played through twice for the verses. Now the only other thing to learn is the pre-chorus. Now this is used just before the final chorus. It's really simple. It's just 1 picking pattern of the A minor and then 4 bars of the F. Now the only other thing to learn is the final chorus, which differs slightly from the other choruses. In the 4th liner tab after the F minor, when we go to our C, we're going to mix things up a little bit. So the first half's the same, so thumb, flick, up on the 2nd string. Then we're going to go thumb, 3rd string, and then C/B, thumb, 3rd string. There's no flick here on the 4 beat. This is the only place in the song where there's no flick on the 4 beat. And then we go to an A minor for a regular picking pattern. And then for the 5th liner tab, it's F, F minor again, and then finally end by strumming a C chord. So I'll just play from the 4th line of chords onwards because everything else is the same as the regular chorus. And that's everything for the studio version of this song. If you're fairly new to guitar and you just want a simple way of strumming this, then this is how we're going to do it. So for the intro and chorus chord progression, there's 4 lines of chords as you see below. So they're very simple open chord shapes. So A minor, C, F, and then C to C/B, like that. Now for the first 3 chords, we can play a strumming pattern that goes like this: down, down, up, up, down, up. For the 4th bar, when we go C to C/B, those 2 chords are within 1 bar, and we're just going to strum each chord with a down, up, and then change down, up, down, up. So the first line of chords. For the second line of chords, it's A minor to C, and then a G. Now I'm going to play the G like this. So ring and pinky fingers on the 3rd frets of the 6th and 2nd string, and middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 5th string. So the second line of chords. For the 3rd line of chords, A minor, C, E major, A minor, and then A minor over G. So take your pinky finger and put it on the 3rd fret of the 6th string. But if that's too difficult, then just lift your ring finger and put that on the 3rd fret of the 6th string. That's A minor 7 over G. Just pick which one's more comfortable for you. And again, those two chords are within the 1 bar. So down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So the 3rd line of tab. For the 4th line of chords, we have an F chord and then F minor. So we'll just lift our ring finger from that bar chord. And then for the 3rd and the 4th bars, we go to a C and C/G. So from the C, just move your ring finger up to the 3rd fret of the 6th string. Now those two chords are within 1 bar, and we're going to play each chord with a down, down, up. Right, so down, down, up, down, down, up, and play that again. And that's it for the 4th line of chords. Now all together, the intro/chorus chord progression will sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next thing to learn is the verse chord progression, which is simple. There's just 3 lines of chords here. We're going to continue on with the C to the C/G for the 1st line of chords. So exactly the same as we played it in the intro. For the 2nd line of chords, it's A minor and A minor over E. So A minor over E means the low 6th string is the root note. So again, we're going to play these 2 chords within 1 bar. And if you want, really emphasize on those root notes on the 1st down strum for each chord. Although it's not necessary, but it sounds a lot better if you do focus on those root notes. Then F chord for 2 strumming patterns. And then a C and a G. So that's it for the verse chord progression, which just sounds like this. That's it for the verse chord progression. Now the other parts to learn are the pre-chorus. So that's just an A minor for 1 bar and an F for 4 bars. Very self-explanatory. If you want to see it in context, go to the playthrough at the end of the lesson. And then finally the last chorus, which has an extra line of chords here. So for the 4th line of chords, after the F minor, we go C, and then we're going to go to a C/B, but this occurs on the 4 beat. So the strumming pattern, down, down, up, down, up, down, up. And on that 4 beat is where we change. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then A minor for a full bar. So the 4th line of chords. And the F minor, and the song on a C. And that's the easy strummed way of playing this song. Exact same chords as the fingerpick version, just with simple strumming patterns. So now I'll be doing 2 playthroughs of this song. The first playthrough will be the studio version, and that's definitely geared more towards intermediate to advanced players. And the second playthrough will be for the beginners, the easy strum version. I'll have a vocal track on top for some context. Feel free to play this back as many times as you'd like to practice, play along to, and see how you go.
Someday you will die, but I'll be close behind. Follow you into the dark, the blinding light, tunnels to gates up wide, just our hands clasped so tight, waiting for the hint of a spark. If heaven and hell decide that they both are satisfied, illuminate the nose on the vacancy sides. If there's no one beside you when your soul embarks, then I'll follow you into the dark. Catholic school, as vicious as Roman rule, I got my knuckles bruised by a lady in black. I held my tongue as she told me, son, fear is the heart of love. So I never went back. If heaven and hell decide that they both are satisfied, illuminate the nose on the vacancy sides. If there's no one beside you when your soul embarks, then I'll follow you into the dark. You and me have seen everything you see, from back up to Calgary, and the soles of your shoes are all worn down. The time for sleep is now. It's nothing to cry about, 'cause we hold each other soon in the blackest of rooms. If heaven and hell decide that they both are satisfied, illuminate the nose on the vacancy sides. If there's no one beside you when your soul embarks, then I'll follow you into the dark. And I'll follow you into the dark. Love of mine, someday you will die, but I'll be close behind. Follow you into the dark, the blinding light, tunnels to gates up wide, just our hands clasped so tight, waiting for the hint of a spark. If heaven and hell decide that they both are satisfied, illuminate the nose on the vacancy sides. If there's no one beside you when your soul embarks, then I'll follow you into the dark.
Thanks so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this lesson, then I know you'll absolutely love these other lessons too. So hit the link here. Or if you want to grab a copy of my free guitar ebook, then head over to guitarzerotohero.com or click the link here. Thanks so much, and I'll see you guys next time on Guitar Zero to Hero. Cheers.